What's happening? And welcome back to the Shoveit podcast, first episode of 2025. I've had a pretty chill start to the year. That was planned though, that was scheduled in. I generally am one of those people that runs like full gas until the point where I need to take a very hefty break. I like operating like that. I get very itchy feet. I get very bored if I'm not working flat out the whole time. So it was quite nice over the end of last year, over Christmas and into the start of the new year. And just trying to get my head into gear. It's like, I'm not a big fan of this like new year, new me kind of person. I don't see the point in just, I see the point in drawing a line and going, fuck that shit, and then moving forward, but I don't see the point in like building up to the point in which you do that, if that makes any sense. I'm sure it works for some people, it just doesn't really work for me. I kind of like, when I get an idea, I'm like, let's start it now. I'd rather start the process. So I've been doing just changing things up in my own life and just moving stuff about and trying to get a grasp of it, right? So the first reason being is, believe it or not, I turned 40 in December past. Fucking hell. I've never been someone concerned about my age. I don't really care. I've never thought about it. It's not, I am as old as I am. I am as old as I feel. And I've never really bothered. I remember my wife being heavily concerned when she turned 30, and then even more concerned when she turned 40, because she is older than me, okay? And last year was great because she had turned 40 and I just lived the whole year being like, I'm in my 30s and you're 40. You old fart, the entire year. And now I can't do that anymore because I'm at the same fucking age. But let me tell you, I've never cared about an age in my entire life except for this age, 40. Because it's there's something about that. There is something about saying that just makes me go, hold on a second. I'm trying to explain this to people. Everything in life you can get a grasp of, you can get control of. You can like slow it down. If you're like running too fast, you can slow down. If you're buying too much stuff, you can stop. If you're eating too much, you can change that habit. You know, everything you can make changes and adjust all these things. But age, you cannot control your age. And I was like getting closer and closer to that number. And I was like, yeah, I didn't think I cared. My wife was like, are you excited about your 40th? Are you nervous? I was like, indifferent. Don't really care. No bother. Then I hit it. And then I was like, I think it was like the next day, I was like, I am now 40. That sounds old as fuck. And I was speaking to a client the other day who said when she turned 40, she just felt like this existential crisis. She was like, I just felt like giving up. It was something along the lines of that. And I'm like, yeah, and I totally understand that feeling, because I've been going through that the last couple of weeks. Just like every now and then I just get this little like reminder, just like, hey, you're old, brother, you're old. And I'm just like, I hate that. And it irritates me because I kind of want to be like it doesn't even irritate me. It makes me angry because I'm like, fuck you, 40 years old. You don't control me. And I'm just like, it makes me angry that that's it. I can't change that. Like I can say to people I'm 37, and I did say to my wife, maybe I should just say 37. That sounds like a good age. I'll just say I'm 37 until that point where people are like, you're definitely 65. But I just don't know how long I'll get away with that for. So the whole concept is just, it's wildly frustrating. It's given me a real that was what the client said, impending doom. She said, I just suddenly got these waves of impending doom. And I was like, that's the feeling that I got. Like that's what goes through my head of the last couple of weeks. And I'm just like, just trying to get that out of the system. Just trying to if I can get it out of there. Because I don't feel any different now to how I felt when I was 21. Apart from maybe sometimes my body and my mind are in two different places. You know, my mind's like, we got this. And my body goes, slide on. There's little bits like that. But that is part of what I've changed in the last year. I've been working with one of my clients, Ben, is a PT, great guy, good for me mentally and physically. And he's been helping me a lot. And I've been working with him on fitness and eating, like just eating better, moving and exercising more. Like I've been hitting the gym a lot more, which is not something I've really been very interested in the past, but I have been loving it. it's just my relationship with food and how much I eat. Not that I like have a very bad diet, but I eat a lot of food. Like I love food and I can eat a lot of it. So it's trying to understand that and just work. So all of that's what I started last year in anticipation for becoming old. And now we're old. Okay. So if anybody asks, I'm 37. That's the thing. So then I'm sitting here at the beginning of the year thinking like, right, what's the plans for the year? And fucking YouTube, it knows, man, because YouTube started serving me videos that were like, are you 40 years old and starting a YouTube channel? I was like, no, depressingly, I'm 40 years old and I've had a YouTube channel for 8 years and still no one gives a fuck. So, but it knew, I just keep getting served like 40-year-old man making YouTube videos. And I'm like, is that it now? Is that all you're going to give me? You're just going to be like, here's all the old shit. Here's all the old content. Have this. Have an old fella in the woods. Now, to be fair, I do also now watch a lot more like just guys building cabins in the woods for like 45 minutes with like no audio, just sounds, just the sounds of them doing it, all that sort of stuff. And like people building campfires. And I don't know what. Maybe there's just like parts in your life where you just go, this is now where you are. So I'm going to have to adjust for all that. But it's been a wild ride so far. I have been sitting down at the beginning of this year thinking, what do I want to do this year? And there's always like a bunch of things happening, and I've had some good meetings this year. When it comes to work side of it, I'm just pushing forward with the way I'm working. I'm trying to build tighter relationships with certain clients. I'm trying to work more regularly with people. I work on a lot of retainer based stuff, which I really like. It suits me and it allows me to build good relationships with people. So shooting a lot of video and photo, doing a bit of design stuff this year again, and trying to push a lot more of consultation sort of work, like I guess creative coaching, that kind of stuff, because I get a lot of people asking me for that, businesses, individuals, brands, I guess, like, and all different sectors. It's so scattered. Like I have such a variety of work, which I like because it keeps my overactive brain stimulated. So I need to work like that, and I thoroughly enjoy working like that. So it's just this year is about, for me, from a business side, it's just getting things a little bit more structured and being a hell of a lot more diligent with my time management. So just trying to plan that stuff. Like last year I was like, I don't want to shoot more than 2 days a week. And then, because when I say that, like I'm not necessarily shooting 9 till 5, but I might have like 4 different shoots on in a week, or sometimes 5, and it might be like a 2-hour shoot one day and a 5-hour the next day, but that soon eats up all your time. And I do that to try and help people, but then I find this backlog and editing catches up with me and I end up chasing my tail. So I needed this time at the beginning of the year to just sort of sit down and think it through and work out like those plans. Then from a personal side, from my own content, I'm interested to see what happens with Instagram this year with the TikTok potential ban. I mean, at the time of recording this, it looks like it's going ahead in the States where they're going to remove TikTok. I don't know what that's going to do. Is that going to have a big knock-on effect to how people use it in the UK and Europe? Does it mean we're going to get an influx of people who are on TikTok moving back onto Instagram and filling our reels with that sort of stuff? Is that going to be good or is that going to be bad? That's going to be interesting to see. So I'm going to sit there on the fence for a while looking at that, but I want to get back into posting more of my photographs. I feel like the last year I took so many photos and shared so few, and I think it was just a mixture of like having an abundance of shots and then just not applying the time to post them, and trying to just get past this whole bullshit that irritates me about the algorithm not showing stuff. But it is very disheartening when you post things and no one sees it. So there's that side of it. From the photo side, I have been working a bit with my film camera, tinkering with lenses, tying some stuff up. I want to shoot a lot more film this year because I like the tangibility of it. He said a word, tangibility. I like the tangible side of film, and I miss the hands-on side of that. So printing more of my photos this year, and then also film. So I've got a bunch of stuff there for film processing. So want to shoot a bit more film, process my own, scan my own, process my own negatives, because I miss doing that. It's been a very long time since I've done that, and I always loved that side of it. So yeah, going to work on a bit of that stuff with the film camera, and I've got a few film cameras here, so I'm going to play about with those for a bit more, and then I want to print a few more of my photos. I've got a real nice photo printer, and I just fucking procrastinated on using it. So I've just had some new ink arrive in today. Going to set the printer up and start doing that. I get people asking for prints. People want to buy prints, and I'm just never set up to do it. And I'm just like, yep, theoretically I'll sell you a print, but the reality of it is it never fucking happens because I am so shit at organizing that. So that's on my list of things to do, sort out a way for people to buy prints. And I don't want to run an Etsy shop and sell, tons of the same thing. I just want to make, I want to find exclusive shots of mine and sell very few of them and make it very personalized. So if you buy a photo from me, you get a bit of me. I just scratch a bit of my skin into the bag with a photo for you, know what I mean? You get a bit of a personalized touch to it, and there's only a few of them. So I'm going to work towards that. Already had 3 or 4 people this year message me about a couple of the photos that I posted recently saying, I'd love to buy a print of this. And I'm like, I'd love to sell you a print of this. And they're like, how do we do this? And I'm like, I don't know at the moment. We'll get there. We'll work that bit out. So I'm excited to do that, print more, do a bit more film stuff. And then off the back of that, we got content. We got content from that. I want to make more videos around my photographic journeys. When I started my own YouTube channel, I made it. I created an Instagram account called Dill Takes Photos, and I eventually changed it back to my own name. But the concept of that was just a place for me to shoot photos. But then I started shooting more videos, and it all got confusing. But I've sort of lost my way on that. But the videos that I want to make on YouTube were always about photographic journeys. It was just me as a photographer, the way I do things and how I shoot and the things that I see and the stories that align with that. And I sort of have had a lot of fun on YouTube the last few years, but I've confused my own YouTube channel so much that it doesn't know what the fuck is going on. Are you making films? Are you doing animations? Are you doing vlogs? Are you doing gear reviews? And then I'm sitting there going, I don't even know what the fuck. I don't even know what I'm looking at in my own channel. So I couldn't even explain to somebody what my channel is about. It's just about me, which is great, but it's also very hard to get people watching that, and it's very hard to create with structure in that way. And then I have all these ideas, and I'm like, oh, how do I make that work within this? So I've been working on a plan for my own YouTube channel this year, which is still a work in progress, but it's going to be focused way more on photography. So if you do follow me on the YouTubes, there'll be a bit more of a photography angle to it, just brought back into it. It doesn't mean I'm not just going to make boring photo content, because I find that boring. I like journeys and exploration and visiting things and hanging out with people and seeing new stuff, but I like that approach as a photographer. I like seeing it through the lens, as they say. That is something that I thoroughly enjoy doing. So I want to bring a lot more of that back into it. And I think you've got to sort of look at the content you're making and think, what is the, I don't want to say the word niche, because I've complained about the word niche forever, but it is a niche, isn't it? It's working out that reason as to why not reason as to why someone, but a reason as to what your channel is about. And I've struggled. I've just sort of lost my way over the last few years, going up and down and trying stuff. It's been great because I've learned a lot of things. But I think I've gone the long way around back to where I was to go, I should have just carried on doing what I was doing at the beginning, because that was working at the start. I sort of started to build momentum and then just went, and here's a whole lot of random shit spewed over the internet. And that's Instagram as well. So we'll try to rein all that stuff back in again. It might end up when I have to create more accounts, which I don't know if my 40-year-old brain can be bothered with that, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes. So there's that. And then this Shoveit channel, I'm going to carry on with the podcast because I thoroughly enjoy doing the podcast. I don't really know if I care whether people listen to it or not. There's a very small core group of people who message me about it and quite enjoy it. I quite like making it. It's like a way for me to think out loud and just discuss ideas, but I want them to be a little bit quicker, and just be needs to just come to table. Just needs to come from my brain out into the world faster than it currently is, and maybe a little less worrying about it, because I thoroughly enjoy doing video podcasts and audio podcasts. So there's that. I'd like to try to do a little bit more with my buddy Ryan on our Over and Out Show podcast, because it's always enjoyed just producing it. Here, more shit for the internet, here's more content, guys. So there's that side of stuff. But as far as the Shoveit channel goes, yeah, more in the podcast. And I want to start to work on some creative projects for the Shoveit channel, because it's not just supposed to be a podcast. It's just that's all I've been making. But I want to work on some creative film ideas, or some journeys and stories and stuff that are maybe they're sort of intertwined with my own channel, but not photographic based. There's times I want to do stuff and I want to be a bit more arty with it, or have more of an idea or a concept, and I want to bring that into this. I want to work more on I use the term filmmaking very loosely, but there again, there's a whole topic about that terminology, filmmaking, that I'd like to discuss at some point. So there's that. And then I've been drawing out ideas for merch and stickers and shit like that around the Shoveit brand, because that's the Shoveit brand for me is about just having a bit of fun, and making it's like a project-based brand, but it's also kind of my alias that I work. It goes part and parcel with me as a professional, I guess. So it's like, so there's that, website updates, all that stuff coming soon. Yeah, it's gonna be. I think I've put too many things down, if I'm really honest. But it all feels like it makes sense in my head. Just have to somehow make it all work, because it's all intertwined. It all works together. If I can just find a way to stay sane and make it all, it'll be a good laugh. Oh yeah, and the last thing is gear. I've updated my Sony A7S III software firmware, which was a fucking absolute pain in the hoop to do, but I've done that. So we're shooting this episode on S Cinetone for the first time ever. And I know what you're thinking if you're into your camera gear. Dill, that's been out for years. I'm like, but I've never updated the firmware on my Sony camera, because I tried it once and it was a ball ache. So I just was like, fuck that, I'm not going to bother doing it. And then I did it the other day, and it was still a ball ache to do, but I had to do it 3 times because I had to upgrade the firmware in order to get to the latest one. And now I'm looking, all my menus are a shit show, all my custom settings are gone. Everything I spent ages customizing how the camera worked is all up shit creek now that I paddle. So I'm gonna have to redo it all, get used to how that works. But I do get a bit of 10-bit color out of it, which is kind of cool. So shoot a little bit of 10-bit color and see what fucking difference that makes. It means I can shoot a bit more S-Log 3, which I think will be quite nice. That's real nerdy shit. But if you're into that stuff, you'll be like, yeah, man, if I can get a bit of S-Log 10-bit going on there. And then, what's the other thing I was doing? Oh yeah, I'm looking at upgrading a camera. So I'll keep you updated on that process. I don't know what channel this is for. Should this chat be on the other channel? I'm looking at the Sony A7C II and the A7CR at the moment. Toying between the two. Do I need 61 megapixels for photos? But I think I've done a bit of research on it, and I feel like it might be the perfect camera. One of them might be the perfect camera for what I need, but we'll keep you updated on all of that stuff, you know? If you followed any of my channels up to date, thanks very much. If you're listening to this, you know, and you're like, Dill, I'd love to hear you talk about this, feel free to comment on the video, DM me on Instagram, on the Shoveit channel, or on my own channel if you want, and let me know, because I think like one of the big things I found really interesting through the years of putting content on the internet is the feedback loop, which I also hate. I also simultaneously hate the feedback loop, but I like it because some of the things that come up in conversation are actually fascinating. And then there's times where I'm like, I would never have thought about talking about that. And then people ask me questions about stuff, and then I'll be like, well, do you need advice on that? And then there's still like, I give them some advice and they're like, that's fascinating. And then maybe I learn something from them during that conversation. And I know that works for me when I talk to other people. It's just, all I'm basically saying here is people need to speak to each other. Conversation is key, because we learn a lot when we talk. And I feel like I work a lot in isolation, and I like human interaction. So it's good. Keep talking to me, people. It's like, you know, it's got a good way for me. Fuck, what am I saying? It's a good way for me to bounce ideas back and forth and learn stuff and trial things. So this has just been a massive update video, just for me effectively listing out stuff that I feel like I need to hold myself accountable for. And I'll be honest with you, like I wasn't really sure about a roundup video, but then I started with a friend of mine, Rory Kidd. He's a photographer and surfer based in the mainland, and he was working on a roundup video himself, and this has taken a massive amount of influence from his video, which I'll put below there, where effectively he's doing the same thing. I've just copied Rory. Rory, if you're watching this, I've just copied your video, buddy. But it works in my podcast format, so slide on. It's where he was just basically talking about this thing. I've just copied his video. That's effectively, the more I've thought about it, I've just subconsciously watched his video because he sent it to me and said, what do you think about this? And then I gave him a bunch of feedback and we talked about it, and I was trying to help him with what I thought. And then I've just sat down and recorded a video doing the same thing. So there you go. Go watch Rory's video if you want to see what he's going to do in this year. But it's about holding each other accountable. So I'll challenge him and be like, have you fucking done that? And then me and him will do a bit of back and forth. And I think that little conversation that the two of us have been having has been quite interesting, as he's trying to grow his YouTube channel. You know, I'm trying to fucking get a bit of life back into mine and find out where the hell I was going with it. So, 2025, it's going to be an interesting year. I'm looking forward to it. If you have anything you want to know, learn, hear, want me to do, not do. So we're not going to dance here, but if there's anything you'd like me to talk about or you would like my opinion on, drop it in the comments or drop me a DM. Thanks very much for watching, folks. Let's be having 2025. All right?
Yeah, you better. Yeah, you better.
Yeah. There's a poster on the wall now. It says Shoveit Podcast, just in case you didn't know where you were. Shout out to my mom and dad for printing me out a poster to put on my wall. 40 years old.